Hey everybody, welcome to the round 6 preview. Carlton and Fremantle on Saturday night at Optus Stadium. And I've got to say, it's so strange. We've really got to move on from Sunday pretty quickly, and that's it's negative and positive when you play on a Sunday game, because if you win, you don't get enough time to really enjoy it. I'm really grateful for the position that we're in, to be honest. I'm grateful to be 4-1, and I'm grateful to be in the hunt. Like, we're in the finals hunt. When have we been able to say that at this point in the year? At this point in the year, we're usually like catching up after the 0-2 or the 0-3 hole that we put ourselves in. So I'm pretty excited with the way the season's played out so far. And then, to be honest with you, I don't really know what to think and what to say and what to expect. Obviously, I expect us to play well, and I expect us to come out with the hunger and whatnot each week. But I do have this sense that, you know, we're still that inconsistent side. Like, I know that we are. But this week, where it is a little different from previous weeks, is that, first and foremost, fully respect Freo and where they're at, and they're playing really good footy. I think their defence is really underrated. But I feel like, and maybe it's because of the results that we've had over the last few years against the Dockers, I feel like there's a mental edge there, or a mental advantage. And I didn't feel that against Hawthorn. Didn't feel that against Port for sure. But I do feel that, and I wonder if it is a thing. Because our group, I guess the real defining moment for us against Fremantle comes from early last year. It was when we beat them pretty convincingly. And there's just that image in my head of Patrick Cripps lifting up Caleb Sarong, who tried to get under his skin, and just sort of the imagery of it. I'm really big on that, and you know, the whole big brother, little brother thing. And I just think that if we play at our absolute best and Freo play at their absolute best, I still think we're a better team. Personally, I think our best is better than their best. Now, obviously, there's a lot of factors that come into play. How long are you going to be at your best? You know, can you do it for more than 2 quarters? I kind of expect this game to play out how most of these games play out. I'm expecting this to be a tight 2 to 3 goal game for the entirety of the 4 quarters. I know that early last year we beat them well. I don't think that's going to happen for a very long time again against the Dockers. I would be really surprised if it did. And yeah, I mean, the idea of what could be at the end of round 6, and the idea of us being 5-1, it's really strange. Like, it's so abnormal to me. It's so new. It's so foreign. You know, I'm liking the idea of thinking about it being a possibility, a genuine possibility. You know, and I guess I just wonder how this group's going to be able to play after, you know, putting themselves in the position that they've put themselves in, given that we're 4-1. And it's really the challenge of the coaching group. How do we get this group mentally switched on for longer? You know, Vossi spoke about why he thought the second half fade out happened against Port Adelaide. And he referred to the focus of the group. And, you know, I guess how much more can we improve on that week by week? I don't know. The pessimist in me, in the back of my mind, says that unfortunately we're going to have to feel the sting of a really tough, close loss. Because this season so far, we felt the joy and elation of a close win a couple of times after having given up a significant lead. So the pessimist in me is telling me a harsh lesson is on the way. Now, whether it's this week or in a couple of weeks, who knows? But I just want us to, you know, hopefully not have to learn that lesson this week. But I know it's coming. And that's kind of the truth behind what I'm thinking about this group and whatnot. And like I've said throughout the entire season, the beauty of this year for me is that I'm just so on board with what we have. I'm so on board with the program. I'm now back into trusting the process, because I'm seeing the commitment levels that I want to see. I'm seeing the right language used that I want to hear, and I'm seeing the results that are there. So that's how I feel about it. In terms of changes, to be honest with you, if Cripps gets up, I would probably just bring him in for Will Setterfield and maybe leave it at that. I don't think there were too many others that need to be dropped. The question of Tom De Koning is always going to be there because I want him, I do feel like the future of this group and the premiership team, whenever that is, has Tom De Koning in it. But the reality is Tom's got to go back and work on some things and get some consistency and find some form. And he's not there right now. He's going through whatever. But, Sean Darcy is a serious ruckman. And I do think that we need Tom and Pito there to combat him. I really do. And the hard part is Tom needs to go and learn his lesson. He can't play this week, but maybe he can. I'd love to know. I'd love to be sitting in on a team selection conversation because we all have our own opinions of how it all plays out and what should happen and what shouldn't happen. But we don't really know what's going on the inside. It's such a fascinating factor of the week to week and what the coaches are thinking. Because I don't think any of us, if many of us, predicted the changes last week. So those are probably the two situations that I'm looking at right now. And I'm thinking, all right, we've got to think about the ruck situation because I know that Darcy will give them first use. And we've got to think about the Cripps situation because he's clearly going to be playing in the best 22 when he's fit and healthy. It's all about the hamstring. He said this morning on the radio that he was confident, but the physios have given him a few boxes to tick. I guess I'll just put the faith in the professionals to get that job done and make that call. So, yeah, now with the Dockers, like I mentioned before, their defence is really underrated. I think one of the more underrated players in the competition is Alex Pearce. He's a serious defender. I would assume he's going to take a Harry Mackay. The beauty of our situation is Charlie Curnow's playing, and my mind goes back to when he hurt his knee against the Dockers a few years back, which was the last time I believe we saw him until obviously he returned. So, there's another layer of gratitude there as well. We're getting games into Charlie Curnow and he's getting better. But, I'm hoping this week will be a week where we show the mental edge against Fremantle and treat them like the inferior team that I want us to treat them like. I mean, not to disrespect Freo, but I want our boys to move into that mentality of bully and bigger brother, and I want to see more of that. And I think Freo have some serious young talent. We have some serious young talent. I would argue that our young talent is better, but we're playing away from home. It's on their home deck. They're going to get the benefit of those 50-50 calls from the umpiring. We know that dissent is on the agenda this week with umpiring, and that's the other part as well. I don't know how many Carlton supporters we have in WA, but I know it's a lot. We need to get there in our flocks because that, what do they call it? The noise of affirmation in the Perth crowd. It's real, and so it's going to be a tough one. And yeah, I'm pumped. Saturday night. I don't like Sunday games. Not when we have this many in a row. Saturday night we get to hopefully enjoy the spoils of a win for one full day on the Sunday and really get into it. But those are my thoughts going into this week in terms of what I'm looking out for and some of the selection issues that I think we're going to have to talk about this week. But what about you? What do you think about the team that has to play this week? I personally don't believe that anybody in the VFL last week did so much to warrant an automatic recall. So there's an interesting notion there. And what do you think about the ruck situation? Do we need to play Tom or do we need to have Tom find form before we play Tom? I'm interested to see your thoughts. I'm interested to see how you see this game playing out. And I will be in the comments, reading, responding, and we'll go from there. Go the Mighty Blues.